Hello, it is Wednesday, April 12th, 2023. I'm Chris Bremo and welcome back to the New York Times Crossword Daily Solve. It is time for a Wednesday puzzle today, which means a midweek, mid-difficulty crossword. And this midweek, mid-difficulty edition of the Daily Solve has been brought to us by Quotidiophile, Over a Full Hitbox, Jake Rodkin, and, as always, the invaluable Timothy Mark, and the indomitable Schulmaster. So thank you so much to the 5 of them, benefactors of the Daily Solve Patreon campaign, for their generous support in sustaining this channel, keeping this series going. And thank you to everybody who has become a patron and a contributor to this channel. It really does mean a lot to me. Thank you so much for your support. If you'd like to directly support this channel yourself, you can become a benefactor and get the Daily Solve Let's Check the Crosses mug, or you can become a patron at any level and get all of the bonus videos that have gone up on the channel to date, as well as the new ones that go up each week. And all of that is at patreon.com/dailysolve or in the link in the description field underneath the video. Above the video, or on the video, or I guess immediately below it, you can subscribe to the channel, and please do that. And if you've not gotten around to it, that's a big help. And you can also subscribe to the Daily Solve Discord chat server. There's a link to that in the description field. Nice friendly chat community there. So let's get on to solving today's crossword. This is another collaborative construction by Olivia Mitra-Framke and Brooke Husick, who I think have around a dozen and a little more than a dozen puzzles to their names, and it will have a theme because it is a midweek puzzle. It was edited, as always, by Will Shorts. So let's start solving and see what we have in store on this midweek puzzle. Furthermore could simply be also, but let's check the crosses and see. Some book fair organizers for short. I'm not sure. I guess actually my first thought here would be PT, parent-teacher organizations. PTAs, parent-teacher associations. That's what that is. So what is this? Furthermore. I don't know. I'm not seeing any of this for some reason. Let's look elsewhere. The Bluest Eye author Morrison, Toni Morrison. So does that help with this? And that does look like PTAs, doesn't it? Furthermore, oh, plus, right, as well, plus, and, okay, that works. And body part that becomes an animal when its vowels are swapped is a loin, or yes, a loin, which when the I and O are swapped becomes a lion, which is an animal. So there we go. Control-Z on a PC is the undo command, and mountain range in Spanish. Is it Sierra? That sounds correct to me because that's used in the name of many mountain ranges. I don't think I realized it means mountain range, so that's good to know. And a sound of suppressed laughter could be a snort. Sometimes happens when you're trying to keep your laughter quiet. Collar insert could be a collar stay, little plastic or metal bar that you can insert into a collar to keep it stiff, I suppose. Ignoring what my assistant said. Oh, interesting. Aids. So the assistant is the aid. Aids. I don't know. AIDS be damned came to mind, but I don't think that's correct. Life energy is chi, maybe? But let's check the cross. Crustacean whose species range in size from 0.2 inches to 12 feet. I don't know, crave or crayfish? I'm not sure. Snoopy's imaginary antagonist, the Red Baron. This is Snoopy in the newspaper comic strip Peanuts, who imagines himself as the as the fighter ace battling his nemesis, the Red Baron. Okay, domain is one's area, domain of expertise, for instance. Maybe this is cray. Things you can hit or no, crab. Why did I not think of crab before cray? Half of the word crayfish. That was preposterous. Anyway, obviously it's a crab. And things you can hit or pump are brakes. Hit the brakes or pump the brakes. I guess each of those is in a vehicle. Mister in Munster is Herr, so in German, and Munster is just serving as any German location to clue us into the German language requirement of the clue. So Herr for Mr. All right. AIDS idea, maybe it has to do with the fact that aid and side are both words. I don't know. Like, are we dividing a phrase up into sort of, we're dividing it differently or something? I don't know. Slinky, say. A toy? A slinky is this coiled toy, or maybe it is just the coil. Does this work? Bake? No, it doesn't. Use a tandoor is to bake, because a tandoor is an oven used in Indian cuisine to make tandoori dishes, obviously named for the oven. But that means this is not coil or toy or what? Slinky. Could be the adjective slinky as well. Leave the stage is to exit. Exit stage right, for instance. And, oh, sexy maybe, as in if you just have a sort of a slinky dress, maybe you could describe it that way. And that would explain the say, in the sense that, oh, these things aren't synonyms, but you could sort of, it would be implied in a certain context. That's often what say means. It's a bit of a looser match where it could apply contextually. Does that help with this? AIDS ideas. AIDS ideas. Bad. I don't know. Organization with a 6th Man of the Year award. I have no idea what that is. Don't trust them. Author Gaiman. Neil Gaiman. Is that Neil, I think? Precious material frequently buried with the dead in ancient China. Jade, maybe? Sword-wielding fighter of feudal Japan. A ninja? So that looks right. And then Visa alternative for short could be Amex. So those are two credit card processors, Visa and American Express. Non-starters. The B team, maybe? They're not the starting crew, which would be the A team. Could be B team or C team, I guess. Probably B. Organization with a 6th Man of the Year. Oh, NBA. That somehow sounds plausible to me. That sounds like a basketball thing, but I couldn't tell you why or what it means because I haven't a clue. Oh, I see. These words all reuse the same letters. They're anagrams of one another. AIDS ideas aside. There we go. AIDS ideas aside, ignoring what my assistant said. There we go. Very clever. All right. So we have 3, at least in this clue, presumably in the others as well, we'll have 3 anagrams. In other words, a set of 5 letters used 3 times in different orders. Right. Okay. There we go. At least we've gotten that figured out. Don't trust them. It's a trap, you might say. And Cousin Blank visits the Addams Family, 1965 TV episode title. Cousin It, I guess, visits the Addams Family, the character from the television. Okay, what might be found outside a hipster cafeteria? Something trays. Stray, artsy trays. There we go. Okay. Stray artsy trays may be found outside a hipster cafeteria. This playing on the idea of the kind of artsy hipster, the sort of slightly pretentious stereotype character. All right. 1971 documentary about Ravi Shankar. Rava? Raga. Oh, Raga, because Raga is an Indian music sort of tradition. So Raga would be most likely there. And then fancy sounding apple cultivar. Gala, maybe? Gala apples? I've heard of those. And I guess they're fancy sounding because a gala is sort of a fancy party, a sort of soiree. All right, place to go in England could be the loo. So what this means, it's exactly the same as this Mr. and Munster clues in the sense that in England just means in British English rather than American English. And a place to go means a place to go to the toilet, the loo, in British English. So that's what that is doing there. Like the Mandarin and Punjabi languages, tonal, those are tonal languages. And needle could be to annoy somebody, to needle them. Irregularly could be off rhythm or something. Irregularly, I'm not sure. Year in Portuguese, is it año maybe or ano? I can't remember. I think I've mispronounced that before and forgotten if it has that particular accent. It's used to walk the dog. It's used, a yo-yo. Walking the dog is a yo-yo trick where the yo-yo stays, I think it sort of stays down at the bottom of the string. Is it called the string? Do you call it a leash? What do you call that with a yo-yo? I mean, it is literally a string, but does it have a term? Pinot Noir is a wine, a grape variety, and over-the-top sorts. I'm not sure offhand. The Queen of Soul, Aretha Franklin, or just Aretha, because you'd know who you meant. Okay, what else? Kind of reader. A tarot reader, someone who might read your fortune in a tarot deck. A wide variety of objects or things could be an array. You've Got Mail was a 1998 romantic comedy film, and to use a wheelchair's push rims, for instance. To use a wheelchair's push rims, for instance. Not sure. To steer, presumably. Push rims. I think that means on the wheels, and you would rotate them at different rates to turn the wheelchair. This is celebrity chef blank Prue Leith from the Great British Bake Off, who replaced Mary Berry. And old Roman word of greeting or parting, ave, is indeed that, a word of greeting or parting. So here we have a wetsuit vis-a-vis a team triathlon, something layer. Maybe the wetsuit is some kind of layer. Vis-a-vis a team triathlon. Relay, something relay layer. You're doing a relay race, maybe a team triathlon. Early relay layer? Why is that? This one I just have because it's it's an anagram. Wetsuit vis-a-vis a team triathlon. Wetsuit with respect to a team triathlon. An early relay. Maybe because that comes early in the triathlon. Does swimming come early in a triathlon? I'm not sure. Maybe it does. We'll see if this is right. Maybe it's wrong. Company behind the podcast, First Person. I don't know. Is it New York Times? I'm wondering if it's the New York Times because we're solving a New York Times crossword, and the Y there makes me think maybe it is. I don't recognize that. I don't think I listened to any New York Times podcasts, actually. Sing like Nat King Cole is to croon. He was a crooner. And pizza parlor purchase could be a slice of pizza, maybe. Wonder Woman accessory, she classically wore a tiara. And fourth most common family name in China, Liu, maybe? It's a common Chinese name. I don't know if it's the fourth most common. Tabloid tidbit would be a rumor. There we go. So it is Liu. And one of three in to be or not to be. 3 I am. So this is referring to iambic poetic meter. To be or not to be. It's that unstressed followed by stressed pair of syllables. And then iambic pentameter, of course, famously is what Shakespeare mostly used. So there are 5 of those in a row, but this line only contains the 3, and then the other 2 iams would be surrounding it. Supportive pillows in a yoga class are, I don't know. I don't know if that's a yoga term or a generalized term that I just can't think of. Animal in the Hartford's logo. Is it a stag? Because a hart, I'm wondering if it's simply referencing a hart as a deer, male deer. Maybe. It seems likely enough. Wetland waders could be egrets, maybe. Egrets are wading birds. It's a nice cross with stag there. And former T-shirts, perhaps, could be maybe reduced to rags or used as rags. Crossword puzzle component is the grid, of course, of the crossword. And if something happened irregularly, it happened on and off. That's why. Not why. That's what I didn't get earlier. Blank M. America, Langston Hughes' line of poetry. I too am America. Tempeh relative tofu. Tempeh is another sort of protein meat substitute. Like forgiving lighting in photography. I know that tofu isn't specifically a meat substitute only. It's obviously its own meal. Apology for suggesting otherwise. Like forgiving lighting in photography. Safe or soft. Soft lighting could be forgiving because it produces less harsh shadows. So I too am America. I do think that's right. Superfan is, I don't know, a nut. You're a total nut about something. You're a super fan of it. That makes sense. Over the top sorts, lies, or doesn't really seem right, but this is probably an S. Engravings, e.g. So here we have Seton, stone, or set on stone, maybe? Seton Hall. Over the top sorts. Screenwriter or actress Michaela. Oh, Michaela. Is this the person who wrote I May Destroy You? Is what I'm wondering, which I did see. But I can't think of her name. Oh, that's annoying. Snake Eyes. Two rolls of one on two dice. Control Y on a PC is redo, in other words, undoing an undo command, which we had elsewhere in the puzzle, didn't we? Yes, that's a nice little echo there. We had undo, Control Z on a PC, and redo, Control Y on a PC. To take something to heart is to heed advice, perhaps, and furthermore is also Michaela Cole. Is this it? COEL? Stager's concern, decor of stage. Yes, that looks right. So production designer, for instance, might be staging something and be concerned about the decor. Over the top sorts, lids. They go over the top of your eyes. Right. All right. And then noir here, Pinot. Oh, no, we had that already. Okay, what's left? Helpline. SOS, maybe? And musical ending of many a YouTube video. I don't know. Is it the New York Times crossword jingle that plays towards the end of these YouTube videos? Probably not. Musical ending of many a YouTube video. I'm not sure what that... Do many YouTube videos end with a particular music? I'm not sure what that is. Orchestra section could be winds, maybe, or... what else would fit here? Could be. One unlikely to enjoy a dive bar. Snobs? Rebounds, e.g., informally. I'm not sure about that. Supportive pillows in a yoga class. Bolsters? I don't know. Is that a term for supportive pillows? Not sure. Musical ending? I don't know. Engravings, e.g. Notes set on stone? That makes sense. You could call an engraving a note set on stone. That's reasonable. So, does that help? Trip with many stops. Trip with many stops. I'm not sure. And palindromic flower. Well, we can put the T there. Atta, I believe, is a flower. Palindromic, meaning it reads identically in either direction, so the T could go there immediately, and then the other letter will also repeat. So, an outro, I suppose. Right, okay, fair enough. I guess my videos also do end with a musical outro at the very end. So, musical ending of many a YouTube video, including the one you're watching right now. This does look like bolsters, doesn't it? Oh, brass, the brass section in an orchestra, of course. And trip with many stops is a tour. I see. You take a tour and you stop at many places along the way. So rebounds, e.g., informally. Oh, stats, I see. So that'll be in basketball. So we had 2 basketball clues today because we also had NBA, which was that 6th man. There we go, up here. Clue. In any case, this is stat, and there we go. That was the Wednesday crossword today with this very clever palindromic, no, not palindromic, anagrammatic, I suppose, theme. We had AIDS, AIDS ideas aside, it's very clever, ignoring what my assistant said. Stray artsy trays, what might be found outside a hipster cafeteria. That one feels like maybe the most biggest reach of these, perhaps. An early relay layer, the wetsuit vis-a-vis a team triathlon, which I think I understand, assuming the swimming bit of a triathlon comes early on in it. And if so, I understand the clue. And finally, the notes set on stone, which are engravings, which I think is the other. I think that and AIDS ideas aside are the two most clever because they sound the most natural as language, I think. And it's nice that they bookend the overall theme in the grid. Start and end on the strongest notes. So there we go. On the strongest notes set on stone. That was the Wednesday midweek puzzle. Very nice, relatively simple theme in the sense that, we didn't need to, each one stood alone and it wasn't a brutally difficult concept, but let me know how you fared with it when you caught on and if you then skipped ahead and tried to solve the other ones, which I did not think to do today. But there we have it. That was the Wednesday puzzle. And I don't have a huge amount of time, but I will read just a few of the clues. Oops. Let me put up the spoiler wall here. I will read just a few clues from yesterday's puzzle. So this is something I didn't remember at all, and I can't even remember if I remember it being explained. But Nick Hicks says chicken a la king is a dish of diced chicken in a cream sauce, usually with veggies and or mushrooms, served over noodles or rice or bread, or in a pastry. So there we go. Thank you for that. And Chasmart Designs explains that zip code means zone improvement plan. And that was, I inferred the Z probably stood for zone. I don't know that I ever knew zip code stands for zone improvement plan. I mean, it must have stood for something, but it never occurred to me. And finally, David Plank explains that a mondegreen, which is the word for a misheard lyric in a song, is from a poem where the line "laid him on the green" was misheard as Lady Mondegreen. And the story behind that is great. This is from the Wikipedia page on Mondegreen. In a 1954 essay in Harper's Magazine, Sylvia Wright described how, as a young girl, she misheard the last line of the first stanza from the 17th century ballad, The Bonnie Earl o' Moray. That was a Scottish poem. She wrote, "When I was a child, my mother used to read aloud to me from Percy's Reliques, and one of my favorite poems began, as I remember, Ye highlands and ye lowlands, oh, where hae ye been? They hae slay the Earl o' Moray and Lady Mondegreen." And indeed, the line would have been "and laid him on the green," but she heard it as Lady Mondegreen and refused to hear it any other way because she thought the idea of the Earl of Moray lying with his lover, Lady Mondegreen, both slain, was much more romantic than him lying alone on the green. So what a great origin of the word Mondegreen. And that's that for the clues from yesterday's puzzle. That's that for today's video and today's crossword. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll be back tomorrow for a Thursday crossword with a more complex theme. Look forward to that. But until then, please do have an excellent remainder of your Wednesday. Take care.